Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, we welcome you all to this reading session on Krishna book, chapter number 23. And I would share a small piece of information that I have shared you a feedback form on the WhatsApp groups as well as the Telegram group. So, that carries a small feedback. That's basically a feedback form to know better how can we improve these reading sessions, and if you are if really interested and we should continue or not, based on the response from all the devotees who are going to uh, answer this form, we'll be taking a decision that we whether we will be continuing this reading sessions or not. If the number of devotees is too less, then we might also halt it, and we will request all of you that you can continue reading on your own. But if a significant number of devotees request uh, that they really want these reading sessions to be posted, because it really needs a lot of effort, time, and energy to invest while we record and post these on YouTube. So, therefore, I just wanted to know that if it is really needed, only then we will continue it. But if devotees feel comfortable in reading the book on their own, we will keep continuing the quiz, but we will just halt providing the reading sessions in case. So, depending upon the feedback that we receive, this decision will be taken and we'll be announcing it soon. So, let's begin this chapter, which is entitled Delivering the Wives of the Brahmanas Who Performed Sacrifices. Before this, we will recite this prayer from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrit. Krishna, 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 He. Krishna, 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 He. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Ram Raghav, Ram Raghav, Ram Raghav, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshav, Krishna Keshav, Krishna Keshav, Pahimam. The Pranam Mantra of Srila Prabhupada. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's discuss chapter number 23. So what we had read in the previous chapter was that Lord Krishna, when the Chirharan Leela, or the pastime of stealing of the garments of the gopis happened, so Lord Krishna, after that pastime, it happened in the early morning because the gopi used to go early morning to take a bath in the river Jamuna. And when Lord told them that you should pray to Varuna and pay obeisances to him to get relieved of the offense of taking bath naked in the water. So now Lord Krishna is now telling, he returned back to his friends and they were having a great time in the forest, and now the story follows. The morning passed and the cowherd boys were very hungry because they had not eaten breakfast. They immediately approached Krishna and Balaram and said, Dear Krishna and Balaram, you are both all powerful. Sorry for the interruption. You can kill many, many demons, but today we are much afflicted with hunger, and this is disturbing us. So it seems that they have not brought their lunch bags because normally they used to bring a good amount of lunch from their homes and together sit and eat. But maybe today there is some reason that Lord Krishna has some pastime, so that's why they didn't bring their lunch boxes. So then please arrange for something that will mitigate our hunger. Requested in this way by their friends, Lord Krishna and Balram arranged to show compassion to certain wives of Brahmanas who were performing sacrifices. These wives were great devotees of the Lord, and Krishna took this opportunity to bless them. He said, "My dear friends, please go to the house of the Brahmanas nearby. They are now engaged in performing Vedic sacrifices known as Angiras, for they desire elevation to the heavenly planets. All of you, please go to them." Then Lord Krishna warned his friends, "These Brahmanas are not Vaishnavas. They cannot even chant our names, Krishna and Balaram." So Lord Krishna, when he was approached by their friends that they were feeling hungry and they requested, "Please arrange something." So Lord Krishna suggested that there are Brahmanas who live nearby, but the real purpose that Lord Krishna told his friends to go there was that he wanted to deliver the wives of the Brahmanas because they were actually the pure devotees. But these Brahmanas who were engaged in Vedic sacrifices, which is mentioned over here as Angiras, so they were actually desiring to go to the heavenly planets. So, therefore, Lord Krishna told the boys that you go there and your desire might get fulfilled. But he still warned them that these are not Vaishnavas. So, if you tell them that Krishna and Balaram need something, they might even reject your offer or your proposal. So, they cannot even chant our names. They are very busy in chanting the Vedic hymns, although the purpose of the Vedic knowledge is to find me. But because they are not attracted by the names of Krishna and Balaram, you had better not ask them for anything in my name. Better ask for some charity in the name of Balaram. So Lord Krishna told his friends that, see, these fellows are not Vaishnavas, so don't ask them on my name. Better ask in the name of Balramji. And although they are chanting Vedic hymns, but yet the irony is that they are chant they the who is to be known by the Vedas? Vedaischa sarver ahameva vedyo. Krishna is to be known by the Vedic hymns, but what happens is, although these Brahmanas are chanting the Vedic hymns, they still do not know what is the real purpose of reading the Vedas. And what is that? To know Krishna. That is the real purpose of reading the Vedas. So now, charity is generally given to high class Brahmanas, but Krishna and Balram did not appear in a Brahmana family. Balram was known as the son of Vasudev, a Kshatriya, and Krishna was known in Vrindavan as the Nand of Nanda Maharaj, who was a Vaishya. Neither belonged to the Brahmana community. Therefore, Krishna considered that the Brahmanas engaged in performing sacrifices might not be induced to give charity to a Kshatriya and a Vaishya. But at least, if you utter the name of Balaram, they may prefer to give in charity to a Kshatriya rather than to me because I am only a Vaishya. So Lord suggested why to take the name of Balaramji, because Balramji is known as the son of Vasudeva, who is a Kshatriya, while Lord Krishna is not everybody knows. Only a few handful of people. Garg Muni knows, Vasudevji knows that Krishna is the son of Vasudevji. So he's famous as the son of Nand Maharaj, who is actually a cowherd man. That means that he's a Vaishya. So therefore, he told that you take the name of Balramji. Being thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the boys went to the Brahmanas and began to ask for some charity. They approached them with folded hands and fell down on the ground to offer respect. O earthly gods, kindly hear us, who are ordered by Lord Krishna and Balaram. So when they approached the Brahmanas, they requested for some charity, and with folded hands and bowing down, they they fell down on the ground, as we had heard before, that when we pay obeisances to a Vaishnava, it's called Dandavat Pranam. That is, we are falling down just like a stick. So now, what are they saying? O earthly gods, means they are the manifestation of the demigods on on this earthly planet. Kindly hear us that, and Lord Krishna already he had told them that don't take my name, but still we see here that somehow they are taking Lord Krishna's name as well. So now let's move ahead. We hope you, sorry, we hope you know them both very well, and we wish you all good fortune. Krishna and Balaram are tending cows nearby, and we have accompanied them. We have come to ask for some food from you. You are all Brahmanas and knowers of the religious principles, and if you think that you should give us charity, then give us some food, and we shall all eat along with Krishna and Balaram. You are the most respectable Brahmanas within the human society, and you are expected to know all the principles of religious procedure. So they are glorifying the Brahmanas and simultaneously persuading them that since you know all the religious principles, so you know that why you should give us charity. And over on top of that, Krishna and Balaram are asking for charity. Then it becomes very, very auspicious and a great opportunity to serve the Lord. Although the boys were village boys and were not expected to be learned in all the Vedic principles of religious ritual, they hinted that because of their association with Krishna and Balaram, they knew all those principles. By addressing the Brahmanas as knowers of all religious principles, the boys expressed the point of view that when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna and Balaram, were asking for food, the Brahmanas should immediately deliver some without hesitation, because as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, one should perform yajna or sacrifices only for the satisfaction of Vishnu. So why are they saying this statement that you, O Brahmanas, you are the knowers of all religious principles? Because they are in one sense expressing that you are such so knowledgeable that Lord Krishna himself is asking for food. So immediately do that. And Lord Vishnu is actually called Yajna Purusha. That means all sacrifices are done for the pleasure of satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. The boys continued, Lord Vishnu, as Krishna and Balaram, is standing waiting, and you should immediately deliver whatever food you have in your stock. They also explained to the Brahmanas when food is to be accepted and when it is not to be accepted. Generally, the Vaishnavas or the pure devotees of the Lord do not take part in ordinary sacrificial performances, but they know very well the ceremonials called Diksha, Pashu Samstha, and Sautramani. One is permitted to take food after the procedure of Diksha and before the animal sacrificial ceremony and the Sautramani, or the ceremony in which liquors are also offered. The boys said, we can take food at the present stage of your ceremony, for now it will not be prohibited. So you can deliver us the food. So now it's being told that three types of entities or three types of different sacrifices have been mentioned over here. One is Diksha, that is after Diksha you can accept food. At the time of Diksha ceremony, one should be like empty stomach. But apart from the other two, and the Pashu Samstha and Sautramani, one should what should one do before the animal sacrificial ceremony? He has to take one is permitted to take food before that, right? So now the boys are very intelligent and they know that the yajna has reached such a stage that now we can take the food. So you can deliver it to us. All of the companions of Lord Krishna and Balaram were simple cowherd boys. They were in a position to dictate even to the high class Brahmanas engaged in the Vedic rituals of sacrifice. But the Smart Brahmanas, Smart basically means those who are following the rituals without understanding the purpose behind them. But the Smart Brahmanas, who were simply sacrificial minded, could not understand the dictation of the transcendental devotees of the Lord. They could not even appreciate the begging of the Supreme Lord, Krishna and Balaram. Although they heard all the arguments on behalf of Krishna and Balaram, they did not take care for them and they refused to speak to the boys. So, see, what kind of attitude did they show? They didn't even want to speak to the boys. They were such boys who had performed such great austerities to become an associate of the Lord, and such people who are simply interested in doing sacrifices with sacrificial performances without any knowledge are simply rejecting an opportunity to associate personally with the Supreme Lord. So, this means that they are not very intelligent. They are just chanting the Vedic hymns without any knowledge. Despite being highly elevated in the knowledge of the Vedic sacrificial rites, all such non devotee Brahmanas, although they think of themselves as very highly elevated, are ignorant, foolish persons. So, if somebody does not approach, or if at the end of whatever he does, he is not able to please the Supreme Lord, then what is the benefit of that kind of tapasya or yajna, right? All their activities are childish because they do not know that the purpose of the Vedas, as it is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, is to understand Krishna. In spite of their advancement in Vedic knowledge and rituals, they do not understand Krishna. Therefore, their knowledge of the Vedas is useless. Lord Chaitanya therefore gave his valuable opinion that although a person may not be born in a Brahmana family, if he knows Krishna or the science of Krishna consciousness, he is more than a Brahmana. Yei Guru Tattvaveta, say Guru hoy. One who knows Krishna in totality, in true Tattva, he is actually fit to become a Guru. He's more than a Brahmana. So, what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that if somebody knows Krishna and he might not be born in a Brahmana family, so he's fit to become even a spiritual master, right? So it's an ordinary conception in the modern and in our day-to-day life, which we see that the son of a Brahmana becomes a Brahmana. But what actually Lord Krishna has told that it is on the basis of the guna and karma, on the basis of the qualities and the activities of a person that help him to understand or help him to become a Brahmana. We can identify a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra. This Varnashram is established on the basis of qualities and activities. So, therefore, Lord Chaitanya is saying that even if he is not born in a very highly elevated kula or family, yet he can become even greater than a Brahmana, right? There are various details to be observed in the performance of sacrifices. They are known desh, that is place, kal, that is time, prithak dravya, the different detailed paraphernalia, mantra, that is hymns, tantra, scriptural evidences, agni, that is fire, ritvik, the learned performers of the sacrifices, devata, the demigods, yajman, the performer of the sacrifices, kratu, the sacrifice itself, and dharma, the procedures. So, in a sacrificial performance, so many entities are to be considered. So, all these are for satisfying Krishna. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that he is the actual enjoyer of all sacrifices because he is directly the supreme personality of Godhead and the supreme absolute truth beyond the conception or speculation of the material senses. He is present just like an ordinary human boy. But for persons who identify themselves with the body, it is very difficult to understand him. The Brahmanas were very much interested in the comforts of the material body and in elevation to the higher planetary residences called Swargavas. They were therefore completely unable to understand the position of Krishna. So, ordinarily, if you see in this world, people say, "Oh, he inka swargavas ho gaya." That the such and such person, swargiya, means he has gone to the heavenly planet. So that is their conception. They do not have a vision beyond the heavenly planets without understanding that actually what is the purpose of human life, that it is meant to go back to Godhead and not to the heavenly planets. But those who are so much enamored by the material body and they consider that who identify themselves with the body, Just like these Brahmanas, what do they want? They just want material comforts. And in which form? By going to the heavenly planets. So once they reach the heavenly planets, they will enjoy a great deal of material comforts, because that is true. The heavenly planets are much more comfortable uh, than what we see on this earthly planet. So just like we aspire to reside in a community or in a place which is much more comfortable. So similarly, these Brahmanas are trying to go to Swarga, but they do not know that what is the real purpose of life. And when Lord Krishna is personally present before them, they rejected that proposal, they rejected that offer. When the boys saw that the Brahmanas would not reply to them even with a simple yes or no, they became much disappointed. Then they then returned to Lord Krishna and Balaram and explained everything that had happened. After hearing their statements, the Supreme Personality of Godhead smiled. So Lord Krishna knew that this is going to happen because he had already warned the boys. He told them that they should not be sorry for being refused by the Brahmanas, because that is the way of begging. He convinced them that one who is engaged in collecting or begging should not think that he will be successful everywhere. He may be unsuccessful in some places, but that should not be a cause for disappointment. Lord Krishna then asked all the boys to go again, but this time to the wives of the Brahmanas engaged in sacrifices. So, an important lesson what we can learn from here is that when the boys went to the Brahmanas, they rejected them. And Srila Prabhupada writes over here that if we collect donations for the service of the Lord, just like if we see in Purushottam Mass or at the time of Janmashtami, when we go and approach people that please donate for temple construction or the Janmashtami festival, so often many people are interested, but in general, a few people are interested, but not everybody is interested. And that's what Srila Prabhupada is writing, that Lord Krishna told to his friends that that is the way of begging or collecting. If we want to even collect for the Lord, it might not be possible that everybody accepts you or accepts your invitation so open-heartedly, right? So one should not get disappointed. So now Lord Krishna is telling them, now you go to the wives of these Brahmanas. So, but now what he's telling, he also informed that these wives were great devotees. They are always absorbed in thinking of us. Us means Krishna and Balaram. Go there and ask for some food in my name and in the name of Balaram, and I'm sure that they will deliver you as much food as you desire. Carrying out Krishna's order, the boys immediately went to the wives of the Brahmanas. They found the wives sitting inside the Brahmana's house. So these Brahmanas were performing sacrifices outside, and they found that these wives were in the house of the Brahmanas. They were very beautifully decorated with ornaments. After offering them all respectful obeisances, the boys said, "Dear mothers, please accept our humble obeisances and hear our statement. May we inform you that Lord Krishna and Balaram are nearby. They have come here with the cows, and you may know also that we have come here under their instructions. All of us are very hungry, and therefore we have come to you for some food. Please give us something to eat for Krishna, Balram, and ourselves." So, whatever they requested to the Brahmanas, the same thing they asked to the wives of the Brahmanas, that Krishna, Balram are there, they are very hungry, so kindly give us something to eat. Immediately upon hearing this, the wives of the Brahmanas became anxious for Krishna and Balaram. These reactions were spontaneous, right? They did not have to be convinced of the importance of Krishna and Balaram. Immediately upon hearing their names, they became very eager to see them. Being advanced by thinking of Krishna constantly, they were performing the greatest form of mystic meditation. So they were completely Krishna conscious, because throughout their day, throughout their life, they were simply thinking about Krishna. And now came an opportunity when Lord Krishna himself came at their door and told them that this is an opportunity, please serve me in this way. So I think this is one of the biggest opportunities somebody can get. We often offer food to the Lord at our homes or in the temple, But here, Lord Krishna is personally coming to the wives of the Brahmanas that please give me something to eat. So that is a very big benediction. All the wives then became very busily engaged in filling up the different pots with nice foods. Due to the performance of the sacrifice, the various foods were all very palatable. So, very nice foodstuffs were made, which were actually prepared for the sacrifice, right? After collecting a feast, they prepared to go to Krishna, their most beloved object, exactly in the way rivers flow to the sea. So they were so much attracted to Krishna that they hastily moved towards where Krishna was. For a long time, the wives had been eager to see Krishna. However, when they were preparing to leave home to go see him, their husbands, fathers, sons, and relatives asked them not to go. But the wives did not comply. When a devotee is called by the attraction of Krishna, he does not care for bodily ties. The women entered the forest of Vrindavan on the bank of the Jamuna, which was verdant with vegetation and newly grown vines and flowers. Within that forest, they saw Krishna and Balaram engaged in tending the cows along with their affectionate boyfriends. So now they are going. So they were very eager to see Krishna and Balaram, but they were not allowed to go, right? But this time they had such a wonderful opportunity that they decided, okay, now we have got an opportunity, and they went. So the Brahmana's wife saw Krishna with a blackish complexion, wearing a garment that glittered like gold. So Lord Krishna wears yellow garments that it was glittering like gold. He wore a nice garland of forest flowers and a peacock feather on his head. He was also painted with the minerals found in Vrindavan, and he looked exactly like a dancing actor on a theatrical stage. They saw him resting one hand on the shoulder of his friend, and in the other hand he was holding a lotus flower. His ears were decorated with lilies, he wore marks of tilak, and he was smiling charmingly. With their very eyes, the wise of the Brahmanas saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of whom they had heard so much, who was so dear to them, in and in whom their minds were always absorbed. So now they saw him eye to eye, face to face, and Krishna entered within their hearts through their eyes. So when they saw Lord Krishna standing before them, it was the first time that they had seen Krishna, and now they were Krishna, as it felt as if Krishna entered their hearts through their eyes. Within themselves, they began to embrace Krishna to their heart's content, and the distress of separation was mitigated immediately. They were just like great sages who, by their advancement of knowledge, merge into the existence of the Supreme. As a super soul living in everyone's heart, Lord Krishna could understand their minds. They had come to him despite all the protests of their relatives, fathers, husbands, and brothers, and despite all the duties of household affairs, they came just to see him, and who was their life and soul. So they came across so many difficulties, but yet they wanted to meet Krishna, and this was such an opportunity that they didn't want to lose it. So once they came before Lord Krishna, they could understand that this is the biggest benediction of their life. They were exactly following Krishna's instruction in the Bhagavad Gita. One should surrender unto him, giving up all varieties of occupational and religious duties. He therefore began to speak to them, smiling very magnificently. It should be noted in this connection that when Krishna entered into the wife's heart, and when they embraced him and felt the transcendental bliss of being merged with him, the Supreme Lord Krishna did not lose his identity, nor did the individual wives lose theirs. So it's a general conception in the Mayavadis that when we merge into the Supreme, we our identity is lost, just like a river merges into the ocean, right? But what Srila Prabhupada is telling here, that when the wives felt that they were embracing Krishna in their hearts, it does not mean that Lord Krishna lost his identity or the Brahmana wives lost their identity. The individuality of both the Lord and the wives remained, yet they felt oneness in existence. When a lover submits to his lover, without any pinch of personal consideration. That is called oneness. Lord Chaitanya has taught us this feeling of oneness in his Shastrika. Krishna may act freely, doing whatever he likes, but the devotee should always be in oneness or in agreement with his desires. That oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. So we can see over here that the term is being talked over here about oneness, right? So what is what is the oneness that we should aspire for? Mayavadis aspire for a oneness that yes, I want to merge into the supreme. That is the perfection what they think in their minds. But the real perfection of life is to be always one with the Lord. That means to be in agreement with his desires. So we have so many desires in our heart. Lot of them are in line with what Krishna desires, but many of them are not in line with what Krishna desires. So therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam, that we do whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness and we reject what is unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. So this principle is being highlighted over here again, that the wives became one with the Lord. In what sense? That they were in agreement with his desires. So we should also aspire for this situation or this state whereby we do not, we will have a lot of desires, but we do not act on those desires which are against or which are not in which are not compatible with Krishna or Krishna consciousness. So this is a very wonderful learning which we can get from here, that the wives became one with the Lord. How? By accepting, by always being in agreement with Krishna's desire, right? So this oneness was exhibited by the wives of the Brahmanas in their love for Krishna. So what we'll do, we'll stop our discussion over here, and we will continue our discussion tomorrow at the same time. So we request you that if you have not filled the form, the feedback form, please do fill it and let us know that what should we do about conducting these reading sessions or not, and if yes, then how can we improve them? So we wish you all the best. We'll meet tomorrow again, and day after tomorrow we'll be having our exam on chapter number 23. Post that, after this Sunday, the next Sunday we'll be having a combined test of chapter number 17 to 23, right? So thank you very much for your kind attention. हरे कृष्णा शील प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि